behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Palm Mash TV. Palm Mash TV.
Well, hello there. It's Paul Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. We got another great interview coming up for you in just a moment. But before we begin, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell if you haven't already. And anytime a new episode comes your way, you'll be notified. And leave a comment on the comment section if you'd like. We'd love to hear from you there. And we'd also like for you to follow us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/PaulMashTV. And you can watch all the videos there, send us an inbox and comment on everything you see. And also, you can send us an email, paulmashtv, all one word, at gmail.com. And if you're just simply a fan, we love fan mail, you can send us a letter and we'll get back to you. But also, if you're a band or a solo artist that want to be on the show, you can use that as well. And we'll show you how to do that. And all this is going to be recapped at the closing credits at the end of the show, so stay tuned for that. From Springdale, Arkansas today, we have Mark Lanoue. He's very talented, obviously, and I think you're really going to like him. So without further ado, let's start the show as it starts right now. All right, everybody, it's interview time again, and with us from Springdale, Arkansas, we have Mark Lanoue with us today. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Oh, my pleasure. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. I guess you are too, I guess.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I'm breathing.
And he's with he's with three different bands, but the one we're going to be focusing on tonight, and he'll talk about the other two bands as well, is Kick the Wicked, and it's a pretty interesting and awesome band as far as that goes. So, just thought I'd start off with that. Tell us about how you got started in the music industry, because everybody gets their own start in one way, shape, or form. I'm sure you got your own story.
Yeah, well, I've always had, since very young, I've had aspirations to be in the industry. I started actually with tenor sax. So when I was in junior high and high school, marching and concert band, and then I picked up guitar late. I was about 17, but I was a quick learner. Seemed to be natural to me. So being down in Mississippi, I went back to my original place of birth, which was New Jersey. That's where I grew up as a youngster, and I figured it was a better place to really take off as far as being in the music industry. And from there, I just built it up. Different bands. I've recorded with a lot of different rock stars that were from up there. I've been on CDs with Richie Sambora and a number of other artists. I was good friends with Trickster, and hung out with Lanoue, same management kind of with them. Recorded in big studios there. Famous West Orange studio there. It was in West Orange, New Jersey. It was called the House of Music. And a couple other Panetta studios, a number of studios up there. So that's kind of how I got started. Mm-hmm. And as you can see from the timeline, it's been a long road, and I've been in it ever since. I'm a typical Gemini, so I've got more than one part to me. So yeah.
Okay, well, that's quite a story. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and even if you continue to play the tenor sax, I don't know if you still do that, but I think you probably would make a career out of that as well.
Yeah, I haven't played the tenor sax in a while, but it was a beautiful instrument. So I was first chair in college, so I was at least decent at it. So,
okay. Yeah. Well, tell us about. You probably already answered this question, but tell us a little bit about your influences. I'm sure a couple of those bands you mentioned are a couple of them, but.
Well, my influences actually depends on guitar or vocal. I didn't find out too much later that I had a voice, so I was mainly a guitar player in the beginning. And some of my influences were Gary Moore, Yngwie Malmsteen, Paul Gilbert, Randy Rhoads, a lot of those kind of players. Ronnie Latecro from TNT. And I tend to be that kind of artist that likes to find the good in everything. So I'm really kind of somewhat well-rounded in that I try to find influences in everything. So it doesn't matter really the genre or whatever. I try to find the good. I'm the guy who watches a band, and the band, everybody's saying, oh, the band sucks. But yeah, but that bass player is so awesome. So, that's kind of how that's how I become a much better songwriter and a much better player, is by being open to those things.
Okay. Well, do you have any specific artists, like especially in the mainstream world? Do you have any artists that
You mean like modern artists or artists from the past
from the
or?
past,
Yeah. Well, I was a Queensryche fan. I really dug
Mhm.
Queensryche. Ozzy obviously was a big one. Badlands. I love the vocals from Ian, not Ian. Ian was from Deep Purple, but Ray Gillan, and also Whitesnake singer. I like a bunch of different types of bands there, and then of course I like all the other odd side stuff like the Bee Gees
Mhm.
and Jim Croce and so I like all that stuff. I'm very open to Bach to Yngwie Malmsteen to Megadeth. I like it all. So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of those bands you mentioned are definitely legendary. Even the Jim Croce and all that stuff you mentioned, they're definitely legendary. Um, well, let me see. Where can we find your music at? I'm sure it's on all streaming platforms. Maybe you got physical copies as well, but let us know, and also tell us where to find you on social media.
Right. Well, Kick the Wicked is pretty much on all the digital platforms. We don't have a physical product as of yet. We released our first EP in August. The band actually became an original band sometime in the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, somewhere in there, because we were actually doing tributes. Funny enough, when the lockdowns happened, we had a group we called ourselves Farmer Bob, and we just did tributes to everybody. And we have like 40 something tributes now. And we realized we had chemistry between Scott Campbell, Rory Fashion, who's also my drummer in Fiction Six. We realized that we had chemistry and we started writing originals. And that's where we came up with the name Kick the Wicked and started putting out originals. So, but yeah, they can find it everywhere. You can also go to kickthewicked.com. You can go to Apple, Spotify, all of that, YouTube. We're on everything. As far as social media, at Kick the Wicked on Twitter, at Kick the Wicked on Instagram, at Kick the Wicked on Facebook. It's always the same. I keep it pretty linear. We're on all those platforms. So
All right, get out there and your favorite streaming site and download Kick the Wicked songs and follow him on those social media sites. And I know he would love you for that. And we're getting ready to watch this song for you from you, excuse me, Firefly, I do believe it's called. Uh,
that's right. That's our latest single. Yeah. Yeah.
but why don't you tell us a little story about that song before we get into it?
Sure. So everything that I write is always has to do with experience or a story or whatever. I'm an old school kind of writer. So when I was really young, there was really dark some of the areas that I ran through when I was a child. So but we had lots of fireflies in New Jersey, especially in the area that I was. And, so whenever I was scared, I'd see the fireflies and they kind of showed the direction. So that connects to everything, my faith, everything else kind of connects to that guiding light. And that's kind of what that song is about. So,
Okay. Well, it is a great song, and I know everyone out there will agree when they watch it, and which will be coming up very shortly. But before we get into that, Mark, we thank you so much for being on the show. Come back again sometime if you got something new to plug for us. Maybe we'll have you back on again sometime.
well, I appreciate that. I always like to meet new people and whenever I'm given an opportunity to talk, I have no problem doing so.
Okay. Well, let's not waste any time. Here's the video, and it starts right now.
Though that's left behind, reaching to the other side, beyond the veil that separates.